Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Conductor Chat. My name is Alicia Lee, and I'm the founder and artistic director of Sister Cities Girlchoir. I use pronouns she, her, and hers, and I'm joining you from my home on Piscataway lands, otherwise known as Baltimore City. I am a pecan brown Black woman with today straightened hair, straightened natural hair, and red lips, and I'm wearing a purple jacket. Behind me is a purple curtain and a white wall with a piece of art. Thank you so much for joining us for Conductor Chat with Sister Cities Girlchoir. This is a campfire discussion that explores the evolution of the Sister Cities Girlchoir creative process from the conductor's point of view. We have an art strategy goal at Sister Cities, which is by 2024, 50% of our repertoire will be original music for the rest of our time together. So new music from our community, from the youth, the staff, and the families of the Girlchoir. Today's second episode, Building a Facilitation Process, Collaborative Songwriting, features Anne Agresta Dugan, conductor, singer, and teaching artist in her 8th season with the Girlchoir. We're going to unpack the original song One Day, which is a song written by Sister Cities youth using the collaborative composition process in a workshop that was facilitated by Anne this season. In fact, just recently in December. Anne will guide us step by step through the creative process using the Maryland State Department of Education's creative process map. And she's going to share clips and artifacts all along the way. Now, today's featured student work One Day is part of a bigger project titled When I Sing. And this April, first-time collaborators Sister Cities Girlchoir and Intercultural Journeys will present a virtual premiere of When I Sing, this vibrant performance of original music and poetry on April 30th. You can join us on Friday, April 30th, and we will provide a full detail of this event and the watch party, if you'd like to join us for the watch party, at the end of the episode. The piece When I Sing combines 4 original songs that were written collaboratively by the youth of Sister Cities Girlchoir with visual storytelling and poetry, all exploring sisterhood, creativity, and the power of defining your own voice. I just want to highlight that When I Sing is supported in part by an award from the National Endowment for the Arts, with additional support from the Presser Foundation, the Musical Fund Society of Philadelphia, and Comcast Corporation. So up next, we're going to introduce my incredible colleagues. We're so lucky we work with such incredible people. We're so happy with who we work with. So I'm going to introduce 2 of my incredible colleagues. First up, Kendra Balmer, conductor, music educator, and teaching artist with Sister Cities.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello to everyone who's joining us today. My name is Kendra. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am joining you from Lenni Lenape land in South Philadelphia, and I am a white woman with brown hair and blue eyes, wearing purple and white today and sitting in front of a brick wall. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Kendra. It's great to see you. And also, I'm so thrilled to introduce Anne Agresta Dugan, conductor, voice teacher, and singer, and proud member of the staff of Sister Cities Girlchoir. Howdy, Anne.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here for this second Conductor Chat and to share. My name is Anne, and I go by she, her pronouns. I am sitting in my home in Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, which is just outside of Philly on sacred Lenni Lenape land. And I am a white woman with short brown hair and purple glasses. And I'm sitting in front of peach-colored wall in my home with some framed photos that are pictures that are actually conducting patterns. I'd like to show that off, that there are conducting patterns turned into artwork behind me too. I'm so happy to be here.
That's amazing. All right, I'm going to turn the episode over to Kendra.
And I'm so excited to hear about this and to learn a little bit more about you as well. What are some of your artistic roots? Tell us about your role at Sister Cities and a little bit about this ensemble that we're going to hear about.
I'm going to say roll the tape because I put a video together for you, Kendra.
Wonderful.
My name is Anne Agresta Dugan, and music in community is my love language. I come from a large family, the 6th of my parents' 10 children, and we are a musical family. I have vivid memories of dancing around the living room to my dad singing and playing 40s songs on his accordion. And collectively, among the 12 of us, we play the guitar, the accordion, the flute, piccolo, drums, trumpet, saxophone, piano, and of course, we sing. It's no wonder that now, as an adult, I work to recreate that experience in my 25-year career as a music educator, voice teacher, and professional singer. I work to curate concert experiences for others and to share the joy of collaborative rehearsal and creative play and discovery. In my school years, I was incredibly active in all musical activities. I was a church cantor starting at the age of 13, spent my senior year of high school teaching choir, band, instrumental, and voice lessons alongside my middle and high school music teachers. And I earned my degree in vocal performance and music education. For the last 8 years, I have had the pure joy of being a vocal teaching artist and conductor with Sister Cities Girlchoir, where I am also the manager of community partnerships. I work with the Big Sister Choir as the associate conductor, and I also conduct at least one of our school partnership choirs each year in Philadelphia and in Camden, New Jersey. This season, I am conducting the Motion and Music Choir, a choir that is part of our partnership with the Mann Center for the Arts. The students I work with in Big Sisters are in grades 6 through 12, and they join us from across Philadelphia and Camden. Throughout my tenure at SCG, I have worked with all ages, but I love middle school kids so very much. They are in the dramatic process of becoming. They recognize themselves as separate from their families and yet a part of them, and as separate from their communities and yet a part of them. So much is happening in their minds and hearts, and it's a tender time to help nurture their voices, to create safe places for them to contemplate, create, express, and speak up. This season, in a creative partnership with Intercultural Journeys, we launched a journey themed When I Sing, jumping off of the inspiration of using our voices to share big thoughts and ideas, first through poetry and then through original songs. In October, we had the gift of working with award-winning poet, performer, and educator Denise Froman, and her prompts were the jumping off point for this year of creativity with our singers.
Wow, that's so exciting. And I think I speak for many people when I say I wish I could have been a fly on the wall watching your incredible musical family, your journey. So you've clearly been around music your whole life, and obviously it's a part of your identity, and musicianship took you all around the world as a dynamic performer and incredible music educator. So what was your first reaction to adding a new component to your musical identity, that of composer and facilitator of collaborative composition?
Oh, this is a very good question, Kendra. I mean, the short answer is I was nervous, actually. I am totally a yes, let's do it, and I'll figure it out as I go kind of girl. So my initial response when Alicia and I talked about it was like, sure, let's do it. And then I had lots of other thoughts. First of all, I'm a classically trained musician, and as you know, in that realm, we tend to really compartmentalize what piece of musician we can identify with.
Absolutely.
Instrumentalist or a singer, a performer or a teacher, a conductor or a composer. And it's not necessarily a given that we are innately composers, and yet we are when you think about it. Like I can think back and remember one of my earliest memories was of like being a 3-year-old and sitting in the back of our 15-passenger van waiting for my family to load in, where often a guitar was present, actually, and composing a song in my mind. And I still have a sense of that song from that age.
Ah,
Um, and so I think we're really off composers. So that actually has fascinated me. But this was the first experience that I had, the first time where I really trusted myself enough to lean into that and lean into my learning, and also leaned into the learning and the knowledge and the power and the voice of the girls that I worked with to compose, to really have this amazing experience and then turn around and create this piece of music. So
Yeah, it's funny how that can be intimidating in yet an obvious piece that's there all along. You just kind of have to tap into.
Right. You really do. It's like you really have to get back to that little person inside you that has something really unique to say. Yeah.
I just want to remind everyone that's watching us out in Facebook land that you can drop questions for us in on the Facebook page, and we will respond to those questions live today. So drop us some questions as we move through.
So let's move forward to the next aspect of this project. At Sister Cities, we use the creative process maps from the Maryland State Department Education to plan and reflect on learning experiences. So in this map that you see, we start with inspire to offer a big idea to explore and clarify learning goals. Then we move on to explore, where the youth prepare a draft. And then we move to elevate, where we work and refine and revise the creative process. And before the final, then we assess. And if we say, yes, this is exactly what we want, then we move to present, where we share our work with others and hold space for reflection. So let's dig into this inspired domain for the original song One Day that you collaboratively composed with students in December of 2020. Let's watch a little video first.
So just give you a little intro to the video. So what you're going to see is this song is a part of that partnership When I Sing. And the first piece of that collaboration was with Denise Froman, who did a virtual residency with us, a virtual residency for 6 weeks. She's a total rock star, Denise. She's a Women of the World Poetry Slam champion. She's an activist and a poet. And she came in. And so what you're going to see in this compilation video is her inspiration piece. Excuse me, answering the big idea. If you could dream up a new reality, a new world one day, what would that look like?
One of the things I love about poetry is that it allows us to dream, right? What I love about songs, right, and art, and the songs that you all have sung and will continue to sing is that it sort of transports us to another place. So we're going to be talking about, if you could build a new world, what would that look like? That's our essential question for today. How do we dream forward? How do you feel? Like, what does this song do to you? How do you feel listening to it? What are some of the emotions that come up for you? And what's the weather of the song? Like, how do you feel listening to it? Do you feel sad? Do you feel pensive? You're sort of thinking. Do you feel hopeful? Do you feel alive? All right, here we go. Somebody said hope, family, love, that the world can be better. Lucille Clifton says we can't create what we can't imagine. And so, like, we see people protesting sometimes to create a better world because they're dreaming, they're seeing there's something better here, right? Poets and artists and singers, they do the same thing. So I want us to think about that one day. And that's what poems and songs can do, is to say that our current reality doesn't have to be the reality that we speak of in the poem. Pocha Heaven, after Jose Olivares. No one talks over the daughters or the mothers. If each of us can write at least 5 lines or more in today's session, then each of us can write a group poem together. And I can call on anybody and we'd be able to have a cohesive poem together, right? So use one day and repeat it, right? Repeat that phrase, that we can actually sort of, by dreaming, we can create a new world in the flesh.
Wow, that's incredibly powerful. This whole process involved collaborating with another teaching artist, which we are very familiar with through Sister Cities Girlchoir, specifically collaborating with other musicians, right? But what was the benefits of bringing in other arts disciplines for this inspiration and domain of this project?
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you. I feel like that's a big piece of our mission, right? Is for our students to witness us working collaboratively together. both in the sort of creative sense, but also that life lesson, watching women work together really well is powerful. And in terms of other disciplines, the truth is we're inspired by all sorts of artistic encounters in our lives outside of our compositional lives. And I think Denise demonstrates so beautifully here, the song, the quote, the poem, her own inspiring poetic words, even the fact that in the process she was writing poetry on the spot and sharing it. It just, it gives us all these ways into our own artistic sense, our own response, our own creativity that, the more ways in, the better. So I think there's no bad there's nothing bad about having other artistic disciplines give you that.
I'm sure that was also inspiring for the singers to hear as well and to see, because they probably have other interests as well, right? And so to connect all of those together was good to have as a visual model that this is happening at other levels too.
Absolutely.
And I'm starting to see some questions pop up in Facebook. So just to remind folks, you can drop in your questions right down here on our Facebook page, and we will share them. We will share them with Anne as we're moving forward.
Wonderful. So let's move on to this next domain of exploring. In this next phase, the youth deepen their understanding of the arts technique and move towards creating a draft.
After gathering inspiration from songs, poetry, and deep questions, we began the brainstorming process. First, using word maps to express our feelings and desires for the future, and then moving on to writing our own poems that all began with the word one day. Then we gathered singers' responses and feelings using a tool called Padlet online, where we could see and interact with each other, and eventually added our exploratory poems. It was from this place that we jumped into the songwriting process.
That's incredible. As a former performance-only music organization, we were always encouraging students to love the process while saying that we share the products when they are polished and pristine. So in this process, we are encouraging them to share products so much earlier by sharing that unformed idea in a draft. What were those challenges?
Well, I think it's like additionally that we're asking them to do something new with the draft, and also that we're stepping into a virtual space, right? So I'm thrilled, first of all, we've had such a successful year doing it. So it is possible. And in normal life, we would be doing that drafting experience in small groups and in think, pair, shares, and in a space where we're sitting next to each other, and it felt kind of like supported by our SCG family. And when you're in a virtual space, it's more naked somehow, right? Okay, unmute and share in front of everyone. You're really seen. So that's just sort of an experiential challenge to get over in terms of like creating that safe space for kids to share unformed drafts. And the other piece is, because we haven't done songwriting before, when we're working on music normally, we have a fully formed piece of music that a composer wrote. They put out their fully formed idea, and our job is to interpret it. And we're making that a draft off of that. This is like, here's an inspiring idea, or here's a big question, in fact, answer it. And unmute and share just some of your immediate thoughts with us. So really, really exposed work. And that's challenging, I would say, for kids, but let's be honest, that's challenging even for adults.
Absolutely, anybody. Yeah, that's incredibly vulnerable and new and scary, but it seems like it went really well. So moving on with this to the next domain. In Elevate, students refined their work by creating artist statements that were shared with the musicians. Let's take a look.
and this could maybe we could flesh this out a little bit more. Like, what is bringing the power out of you? If you imagine yourself having the, harnessing your power, what would be different in the world?
A lot of things.
Such as, here, let's just write them down here. What do we think? Let's go back to that, the first thing we did in the beginning.
When I was writing this, I was thinking in my head, like, girls can do so much more than the world expects of them. And it's like adding on to that.
More than the world expects.
And I to walk down the street swaying my feet to the song that sets me free. Free to be me.
That is awesome, Leilani, because when you sang it for us, I was like, I love this melody so much, but I don't know if it really fits with the music. And then the minute the music started, it was like, I could totally hear it. Did anyone else have that experience? This is sometimes the hardest part is like finding the melody, but and also I think just feeling like, like Leilani clearly has like the whole melody drop right into her head. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it's just like little snippets, and that's okay. You want me to do it want me to play the track while you do it?
Yeah, that would be helpful. One day I'll be able to sing a song that brings the power out of me while walking free, swaying my feet to the song that sets me free. So I wrote another note because I didn't know if I should put them together, but the first and last one I put, the one day people will see me achieve, and then oh wait, I'm not ready.
Take a breath, stretch out. Oh, Leilani, sing your chorus again because it fell out of my head.
To be completely honest, I forgot it too.
Shanira's words, right, Shanira? It's like they're flying. Is that kind of what you meant? Yeah, I just really love it. I'm wondering. I got your back. You are amazing. Thank you for volunteering to do this. I hope you had fun, and keep writing. And as you come up with ideas, send them my way. Okay.
Okay. Bye. Got your back.
Back.
Got your back.
I feel like I was just pulled into your rehearsal space, and it was like a big warm hug. It was so inspirational to watch. So when I was browsing the Padlet and hearing the dialogue here, it looked like a very vulnerable space to display the group's brainstormed unformed ideas like we were talking about. And some that jumped out at me were hands unchained, and one day I'll worry about the sun and not a pool of blood, which leads me to believe the songwriters were quick to get to some heavy topics. And so how did you create this brave space for students to share such personal ideas?
You're totally right. And I feel like this is how we roll in SCG, right? Our number one priority is a brave space, and it can't be a brave space until it's a safe space. And I really feel like that's my job as their teacher, and to facilitate that work, to facilitate that space, and then really be a fierce protector of that space, right? So I think it's having real relationships over time, being a very consistent person in their lives, like showing up as the same person every time. And when you're working with kids, especially middle school kids, like it's very important that you're the same person every time. We spend a lot of time investing in community building. It's not just something we check off the list, right? It's really meaningful. and protecting the belonging of everyone. So everything from, the norms and the routines we have, the agreement we make with each other, the way we leave each other at the end of rehearsal. That's why I left that in there at the end, because that's how we end every single rehearsal. I got your back. Everybody says it if we're in person, and everybody drops it in the chat at the end of a virtual rehearsal. And so all of that just is like sending the message to them that, you belong and your point of view is validated. We really honor their contribution and the way they show up. Just, I think verbalizing things is very powerful. And so what you see is, I hope, like a warm hug, a safe space, and also a joyful space. Like every time I watch that video, I'm like, filled with joy again, because it was that kind of an experience.
What I love about middle school students is that it's not something that they're going to fake for you, right? That was authentic.
Totally. Yeah. Yes. In fact, they'll withhold just to experiment and see how you respond.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was really blown away by the silences, especially in when we're on screen. Silences feel much longer when we're in them, and your patience and trust of the process and allowing them to step into the space. I mean, if you had interrupted or that moment right past where it felt a little uncomfortable, then perhaps Leilani wouldn't have shared that, wonderful phrase about her ideas around the ways that girls' expectations don't always match how brilliant girls can be and are. So your, that patience that you had, that confidence to be patient. We're seeing some chatter in the Facebook chat. So we just want to say shout out to, hey, Stacy Cruz, hey, Larry and Arlene Dunn. Thank you so much for being here. We've got folks from Brazil, folks from Philly, folks from Baltimore, folks from Camden. So we're so glad to see folks filling up and dropping some questions in the chat.
So I cannot wait to hear this whole song. And now we're finally in the domain present, where we share the work with others and reflect on the process. So when will One Day be presented, Anne?
That's because you will not see the whole thing today, just a preview. And that's coming up, but you will get to see the whole thing if you become a part of our virtual audience for our virtual concert on April 30th. We're going to drop more information on our Facebook page and mention it again at the end of today as well. So excited. You will need to click a link and you can get a ticket, a virtual ticket to join us. It'll be from 7 to 8:30 p.m. and you're going to hear the pieces from this When I Sing project. You're going to hear an original poem and an original song written out of inspiration from working with the girls. And also you're going to get to hear another new composition or two from our Little Sisters choir and a couple of other really wonderful pieces collaboratively with our other choirs. So you definitely want to be there, because we've got some girls doing the MC work where, it's going to be a lot of fun, and you'll get a really great peek into everything that we're about at Sister Cities. What was the prompt? What were we being asked to respond to? We talked a little bit right now about remembering about the whole process. So here's kind of a list of the process and how we went through it from October to April. And then I'd really love, while I'm queuing this up, for you to just think about and respond to, is there anything you wish that you would have said in the song, or that you wish you hadn't said in the song? One thing I remember during this whole process is trying to find words to help get my point across. Also, how intense it is to be writing a song for the first time. The big idea was to stand up and say up front to all girls and women, you are greater than the world even sees. I remember people sharing their ideas, and the creativity was really flowing. I really liked the workspace and the people I was working with, because it felt like no one's idea was invalid. Here you go. What do you think? I see Leilani grooving over there. Mahala likes it. Addison, what do you think?
Sounds like what I thought it would sound like, which is good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's not always the experience, right? Sometimes we write something and then because really what we did is we wrote it and then we put it into other people's hands, right? Like, who are the other people that we gave this song to after it was written?
Well, the entire choir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole choir. The whole song made me feel happy because you never expect what's going to happen when and after you make something. So just hearing this piece gives me chills. I heard the whole choir unite, spreading the message, and I feel like a girl choir made the message stronger. I was surprised when our speaking parts got merged, but I really like that. Made me feel really good to see it come to life. I feel like we were the scientist and this song was our Franken baby. One thing I felt with this song was a connection, and I feel as though there is a part of me in each verse.
I know in the beginning I was kind of iffy about it because I didn't know how it would come out, and that kind of worried me. So it was a little iffy, but then once we got it done, hearing it, and then recording, it honestly felt good. And then after hearing the whole thing put together with everybody in it, it's a really good piece. And whoever else listens to it, I hope they get a very good feeling because I know I did. It was just wonderful.
It's brave work, really brave work to take your thoughts and feelings and put them into a song and then share it out with the world.
That was incredibly powerful to hear everyone speak about that process and their thoughts about reflection. Tell us about the longer process for creation and the benefits of student reflection for this project.
I could talk about that for hours, but I won't. So I point out in the video, they experienced this extended creative process. So their first session with Denise was on the 17th of December. We composed on the 5th of December. We presented it to the whole choir on the 16th of January, and then recorded it in little pieces and bits and pieces over Zoom with about 5 adults, muted videos watching all the kids perform, and then it got pieced together. And so they actually only got to this piece of, reflecting on it about 10 days ago. And they still haven't seen the full virtual video. They've only heard the recording. So there's a piece that they haven't experienced yet. And rarely is a process like this so extended where not all of the pieces are actually in their hands. So I wasn't really sure going in what the reflection would be like, but it's the most important part. Because I believe like reflection is when we become aware of our capacity to grow and learn. It's so empowering. It can be fun, I promise. And it's where we collect evidence. And this idea of collecting evidence is sort of a personal life philosophy that I have of, really being able to look around and saying like, hey, look, there's my personal power. There's my voice. There's me rising to my potential. Look what I can do. I matter. I can change the world. It's like the juiciest part of an experience, especially a creative experience. And it really helps us nurture the brave space that we're building because kids come into it with that collected evidence in their backpack, like ready to roll.
Absolutely. Then there's proof that they felt present and then can come back and know that it will still be a safe space.
Yeah.
I particularly love the way that you reflected with them, this idea of kind of starting with remembering, and really going deeper and deeper and towards we're really higher and higher towards higher order thinking, right? But so Bloom's taxonomy in effect, and this idea of like, reflecting on the process that got us there, then, separating ourselves so that separates us a little bit so we can enjoy the product, and then reflect on the product and use that as momentum to push us towards the next product. So like, what else do you have to say? And then, that throws us off in the end. We do have a question from the Facebook group. So thanks, Facebook. And I wrote it down here. So how does the collaborative composition really support and or align with Sister Cities Girl Choir's mission of music for social change?
Oh, that's so good.
Good question. Thank you, Blossom.
It is the best tool that we have. I think that's what I have discovered this year. You know, if we're going to create social change, we have to go to the place where social change it needs to come from, the vision for it. The point of the song, one day, right? What do I want the world to look like? We have to go to the place where there's the most potent voice and power. And so working with kids, working with youth, and then drawing their voices out and giving them the opportunity to decide how that voice goes out into the world instead of saying, here, I wrote this nice song about being a kid. Sing it. Just hugely different. So I just feel like it's completely in alignment with who we are and who we're becoming.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. This idea, everyone's been talking about student voice and agency, student voice and choice. And I think that can be a tool for building folks that can create liberation in our future. I love that Denise brought into the space that quote by Lucille Clifton, that you can't create what you can't imagine, right? And so by building up not only the imaginative flexibility of students, but really building up their confidence in being creative, right? And giving them tools to create with other people. We're giving them tools to the kingdom to create a new world that is filled with justice and equality and peace and love and understanding. And I think I'm excited for what these students will do. These are students who've been with us for a long time, but I'm excited what they'll do with these kind of new competencies. On this Friday, we have another episode of the Conductor Chat where we're going to bring all of our virtual staff in to talk about what it's been like to teach virtually, and also to be diving into like really fast forwarding our composition work in a major way this year. And so that'll be really interesting to hear from them about the kinds of changes that they're seeing, or the kinds of things they're seeing, where the ways that students are expanding and the way we're expanding and growing too.
Please, right. Yeah.
It's time for our coda. We're going to hear some final thoughts from each of you. And my final thought is beyond being grateful to be able to work with both of you and for our Purple Singing community. I think that today's presentation was a really amazing example of the kind of humility that it takes to be an excellent educator, right? To just be willing to say, no, I trust the process. I'm learning and growing. You're learning and growing too. I'm willing to wait for you. Just so much patience and love. And that's really, to me, that's what love looks like in the classroom, is really putting the students at the center and revolving all the tools around them and their needs. And I think you do that masterfully. And I'm glad that I get to work beside you. So
I'm similarly thankful to work beside both of you. And I just keep thinking of what this must have felt like as a middle school songwriter, thinking in my own life of how I would have loved to have this, and what now those singers and songwriters are going to go and create in their future. It's absolutely inspiring.
Oh, well, this is, again, this is like a love fest, but I really, truly feel the same way, like very blessed to be among the two of you and our whole staff at Sister Cities and on a mission together, and rewatching this and putting these reels together for today, just solidified for me how important it is that we continue to invest in youth and be humble working with them and allow them to guide us, and the power in that kind of work. I love these kids so much, and to watch them take ownership in that reflection video at the end, to hear them speak about it in that way of ownership over what they put out. I mean, we just need more and more and more of that, and not just in the musical discipline, right? But in all disciplines. So yeah, this has been really awesome.
And fabulous. We are going to call your attention to this episode and also Kendra's episode from a few weeks back about a graphic score composition project that we embarked on with American Composers Forum and the incredible composer Aaron Bush. You can watch those episodes on our website, sistercitiesgc.org. And we have a whole archive set up already for all of the Conductor Chat videos. And so you'll see Kendra's video is there, and Anne's video will be uploaded shortly. On this Friday, please do join us as we present Centering the Creative Process, our art strategy. So we're gonna unpack this strategy, y'all, for people who are like, why would y'all do this in the middle of a pandemic? In the middle of a pandemic, why would you, while you're learning virtually, add on new skills? Yeah. So we're going to bring our virtual staff, and we'll talk about, some of the challenges, ways that we prepared for this year. This has been in the making since 2017, this goal, right? So we've given ourselves a scaffolded process to get to 2024, but 2024 is coming. It's a knocking on the door, and we're going to be ready. So we're hoping that you'll join us for this third episode, which is this Friday, April 23rd, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Do y'all want to party with us? Come and celebrate with our Purple singing community on Friday, April 30th, 2021, from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we join together to congratulate, to celebrate the voices and creativity and innovation of the youth of Sister Cities Girl Choir. First-time collaborators, Intercultural Journeys, and Sister Cities Girl Choir have joined forces to present When I Sing, a vibrant virtual performance of original music and original poetry by the youth of Sister Cities Girl Choir. Come help us celebrate and uplift these young, emerging artists. They have braved and toiled and elevated their work, and it's ready for you to come and witness their brilliance and the spectacular collaboration that has allowed all of this to take place. Young people have so much to say about the world around them, their hopes and dreams, and the things they want to change. This collaborative project provides a platform to hear from tomorrow's change makers. The performance grew out of a months-long creative process with guidance from poet Denise Froman and musicians Martha Gonzalez, Voices 21C, Anne Dugan and Alicia Lee from Sister Cities Girl Choir, and Ruth Naomi Floyd. The students crafted poems, lyrics, and new songs, focusing on legacies of resistance and joy by women and girls, including the legacy of the voice and powerful advocacy of Philadelphia born and raised, world-renowned opera singer Marian Anderson. The work explores sisterhood, creativity, and the power of defining your own voice. When I Sing is supported in part by an award from the National Endowment for the Arts. Additional support from the project came from the Presser Foundation, the Musical Fund Society of Philadelphia, and Comcast Corporation. You do not want to miss this. Sister Cities Girl Choir community, come on out on Friday, April 30th at 7 p.m. to support the watch party for When I Sing. You'll also catch 2 original world premieres of songs by the Itsy Bitsy and Little Sister Girl Choirs, in addition to classic performances by Itsy Bitsy's, Little Sisters, Motion and Music, and Big Sister Girl Choirs. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be epic. And don't forget, wear purple. See you there. That's right. When we say classic, we're talking about Kirk Franklin, y'all. Not Mozart.
Yeah.
Do don't miss this concert. This is a great opportunity to hear from young people, to know what they want us to know about the world, and we're excited to see and hear from them. These songs have been, as we edit them and assist, right? They are songs that really creep into our hearts and minds, and we've all really fully what is that called, a mind worm or earworm them, and love and cherish these songs, and we hope that you will enjoy them too. All right, we will see you very soon, and please join us on Friday. Thanks, everybody, and thank you, Anne. Thank you, Anne, for sharing your process, being so vulnerable and courageous in sharing your creative process with all of us.
Joyful.
See everybody next time.
Yay!